So Naveen, so let's introduce why we are here so people can know what is it about, Naveen, and also share the screen, okay?
Mhm.
Great.
Okay, so today's tutorial is going to be just for how to navigate Brightspace. So we're all going to need to use Brightspace for our classes. This is where the announcements for the school, your professors, they make all these type of announcements. It all goes there. Your PowerPoints will be there, your quizzes, some exams can even be there, study material. It's all going to be there. But this is the website, amg.brightspace.com. And then when you log in, you're going to get into this page right here. So this is like your home page. Right over here in the My Courses, this pretty much filters your courses by your semester. So whatever semester you are on. So this was my first semester. If you keep navigating through, it'll pretty much bring you to all your classes. This is helpful if you want to just look at previous classes and you want to look at the material like PowerPoints. You can do it through this method, or you can click right here, and this pretty much shows all your classes. And then you have your announcements page right over here. So this is the announcements the school makes. So if you want to just see all the announcements, I would recommend hitting here, show all announcements, and that'll take you to this page. And then just make sure there's a filter over here. Just make sure the filter is set to like most recent to earliest. So like let's see, I think the filter was actually set correctly. But you see, this is the most recent one, and then it gets later post, later post. But this is pretty much how you can see what the school announces. And then just scroll through it, and it goes back all the way to the first announcement they made. And then let's say you're a first semester student. So first semester students would probably be taking something like English, math, AMP1. So if we go to AMP1, when you click the class, you're going to have another set of announcements. So these are the announcements your professors make. So like I said, you want to hit the show all announcements. Make sure the filter is on so it shows you um, either the earliest announcement or the most recent announcement. Um, but see, this was all about announcements, and you can just see what your professor posts. But if we go back, course home, you can always go back to the course home through here. Um, you can go through these little bars up here for different things. So like in the contents bar, this is pretty much where you get your PowerPoints, your syllabus. So if you go to the syllabus, this would be the syllabus. You should read this before your classes start, get familiar with it. It's gonna pretty much tell you when your exams are, what reading material you need to read before, or assignments you need to do before the class starts. So definitely make sure you're familiar with this. And then you have your PowerPoints. So these are all about our PowerPoints that we went when I was taking AMP. And then every so often, some professors might put some quizzes here and there. So there's a final review for us. So it's good to get familiar. This is where all the content you're going to see. And then there's an assignment bar. Your professor, there's like about like a 5 or 10% assignment for your total grade. It's either going to be in the assignments or the discussion, depending on what the professor wants to do. For us, when we took AMP1, we had to do an assignment. They'll post it here, and then you just click on it and pretty much submit whatever the assignment was. Sometimes they'll put it in a discussion, and you just post it in the discussion tab. That's the purpose of these two. If you hit your attendance bar, this pretty much tells you your attendance for the semester. So it's good to keep track of this because you're only allowed 3 absences a semester, roughly 3 absences, but you need at least 80% attendance. Otherwise, it's an automatic fail for the course. So this is where you can see, if you click over here, you can see like, let's say maybe you were incorrectly marked absent. This is where you can see where you would be having that absence. So like, let's say over here it said absent, I would be like, oh, 12:2 it says I was absent, and then you can maybe talk to the professor. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe you forgot to sign in or it was inputted. Um, and then every so often there can be some quizzes. So for my professor in AMP1, we had a bunch of quizzes, study guides, just quizzes throughout the semester, maybe before exams. Your professor will post it here. And then that's pretty much where you get access to it. Um, Lastly, there's a class list section. This section's kind of helpful. If you want to see how many people in your class, um, so it's like 62 people, but more importantly, I think it helps you get connected with your classmates. So let's say like you were talking to some random person, right? You just remember their first name, right? Let's say it's Nicholas, right? When you click over here and click send email, you can actually get their email. So you can get connected to them. If you weren't able to exchange numbers or you need to get notes from another classmate, this is how you could pretty much get it without their phone number. Brightspace is convenient like that. It gives you that email. So you can be like, oh, hey, I missed class last week. You mind if you could send me the notes? You can also get the professor's email. So like you see instructor, learner is student, instructor is professor. If you don't know your professor's email, you can get it through here. But another way to get the professor's email is usually in your syllabus. They usually have it in here. So, like if you see over here, I open the syllabus, it's usually in the front page. But if you don't know how to get it from the class list, you can always get it from the syllabus. And then lastly is your grade tab. So this is where you can get your grades. This is important if you want to like calculate how much like you need to pass the course or get a certain grade, like if you need like a B or A or something. And let's say you did all your unit exams, you got a 38.5 out of 40, and then you did all your lab quizzes, 24.5 out of 25. It'll pretty much tell you how much you would need for a final. So like if you need like an A, you would need above a 93. So you would need 93 points in total. So you can calculate it with a calculator. But I use this whenever throughout the semester, like towards the end, if I want to make sure I want to secure like an A. And let's see, that's pretty much what you would have to know for class, for your class, like information on navigation tools. Does anyone have any questions regarding that information? Okay. If no one has any,
Um,
uh-huh.
I have a question. Hi, this is Martina from Student Services. Could you also do a messaging like I see that little message icon there? Could you do like instant messages also like to
Yeah.
somebody or to instructor? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can actually send instant messaging through um, Brightspace rather than emails. Some professors do this, like you see Mel did it right here.
Mm-hmm.
It pretty much works the same way. It works by like, let's say there's a class list, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can click whoever you want to message. So like boom, boom, boom. And let me see. You click message, and then it puts them all together, and then you can just send a message. But I believe this works through, let me see,
And so you
works
will
through
see
the,
the message in that little message icon,
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
That's, some professors use this. Like Professor Humphrey used it throughout the semester. And then some staff members use it, but this is good for just instant messaging. It's pretty much kind of like email, but through the Brightspace platform. And then
Could you see? Okay, question. Could you see this messaging also on the app?
on the app, it should
Mm-hmm.
appear on the app. It
It
should
should.
appear on
Okay.
the app as well.
Because I know some people are very confused by what do you see on app, right? When you download the Brightspace polls and what do you see online. So
Hmm.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it should go hand in hand. I haven't used the app myself though. I usually just use the browser.
Got it, got it.
And lastly, this bell right here, this is your like your notifications. So like this is where you get all the announcements. So if your professor makes an announcement, so like you see over here, we got an announcement over here. This is the most recent announcement. So right here, and so on. Let's see. But you can always like scroll through this, keep loading, and it'll do like later announcements that were posted later. Um, but that's pretty much all you have to really know about Brightspace. It's not too complicated, but I recommend just playing around with it till you get familiar with it. It just takes some time.
Yeah, for sure. Could you explain a little bit more in depth the assignments submission a little bit more because I know for students who never really worked with this kind of thing that it just takes them time to
Mhm.
know how to really do that or how many ways is there to submit assignment if they have something submitting online.
So it depends how the assignment it wants to be submitted. So sometimes it's a discussion assignment. When you click the discussion assignment, it's not opening now because there aren't any available.
Mm-hmm.
But what will happen is there'll be like a thread over here, and the professor will state something along the lines of, so it'll be like a thread, and the professor will state something like discuss like if you have pharmacology, the professor will be like discuss one farm class drug, for example, and for example ACEs, right? And then within that, when you click it, it'll give you the necessities. So like it might say farm talk about farm action,
One second, Noin. One second, please, please, somebody, can somebody mute their microphone so we can, thank you very much. And yes, and Miss Pauline, can you also mute so we can, thank you very much. Yeah, there you go. Continue, please.
okay.
Sorry.
So like when you click the discussion post, I know they do this for farm. They'll be like talk about one drug class. Maybe it'll be like ACEs. So you talk. I'll give you like the guidelines for it. So what points you need to hit. So like farm action, adverse effects. We could have what else? Nursing interventions, complications, stuff like that. And then you pretty much should write it out on like a Word document or something like a notepad. You
Hmm.
write it out, and then when you enter the thread, you just create a new thread and then just post it in there, and that's it. When it comes to assignments, let me see if I can have access to this. So for this assignment, our professor in AMP wanted us to like make a review sheet, and then you just upload it in here. So like I made a PDF, right? So this was my review sheet. I think she had like 100 questions. She wanted us to answer like 50 of them. So you make it into like a Word document, and there'll be a little section where you can upload it. And then after you upload it, your professor, so like it'll look something like this. After you upload it, your professor can make some comments. Let me see if she made some comments on this. I think she might have messaged me this second. Yeah, so you see, this is the overall feedback. So she said the second submission was better. My
Hmm.
first submission, I believe she made a comment. She's like, it's not in depth enough. So she gave me a second chance to pretty much put more information. I think this was my first one.
I
So
see.
the first one wasn't that much, and then the second one's much more in depth. But you'll get feedback from the professor, and they'll give you your grade. Um, and that's pretty much it. It's either between the assignments bar over here or the discussion bar over here,
Okay.
depending on what they want.
I see. So for a new student, it's really just to know the difference between the discussion, what their professor is asking them to do, if it's either discussion or assignments, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It all depends on what the professor says. Sometimes they'll use the discussion, sometimes they'll use the assignment bar. Okay. And then every so
Perfect.
often, your professor can make a quiz too. So like our professor was doing quizzes. So this could be a part of your grade as well.
Hmm.
So just keep this tab in mind too. And also like these are like helpful things. Like look, a study guide for quiz number 3, for quiz 4. So like your professor could put study guides in there. So you want to do them when they make them available. And let's see. I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
Hmm.
And just keep in mind, sometimes like after you finish one class, they'll close it. So like right now we're in this semester, right? I'm in MedSurg 2, but because I'm in MedSurg 2, sometimes they might go over anatomy stuff, right? Or microbiome stuff. So that's why I click over here. And if I go to like my anatomy 2, right? And I go into content, the class is closed, but the content's still open. So like if I want to get a brush up on some information like the heart, I can still go back to these PowerPoints and read them and just get
Oh,
it.
that's very neat.
Yeah. So very helpful, like later in the semester, like you're gonna get retested on this stuff. So it's always good